Hi everyone, welcome to this updated video. I trust and hope you're doing amazing this morning. We're going to be talking about a new tropical depression 4, which is likely to become Debbie maybe by later today. So it is currently located over Cuba, interacting with land, and that's one of the main reasons it has not intensified into a tropical storm just yet. So we'll be looking at the forecast. There are lots of watches and warnings in place, and the future of this thing is pretty much uncertain right now. But for the short term, for the next couple of days, we have a pretty good idea of what is likely to happen with it. So we're going to be talking about it. In addition, there is a tropical wave out there. Now, it is not marked for development, but models are showing something pretty interesting that I want to get into. So let's go ahead and kickstart things. As we look at the satellite imagery here, we can see that cluster of showers and thunderstorms associated with the tropical depression in the Northwest Caribbean and also just offshore Florida near the Bahamas. Very disorganized right there. Elsewhere in the Caribbean, a few scattered showers around, and similar thing for parts of Central America going to Northern South America. Then outside the Caribbean to the east, we see that next cluster associated with an approaching tropical wave. As of right now, as I said, that next tropical wave not marked for development, at least not yet. So let's zoom into the Caribbean a bit more. There has been a lot of heavy rain across parts of the Greater Antilles, and this is only going to get intense. The impacts associated with this depression will only get more intense as it moves into the Gulf because it's going to strengthen. So Florida is going to be in for it as we head into the new week. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what the National Hurricane Center is forecasting. So as of the latest update this morning, here we can see maximum sustained winds up to 30 miles per hour with this disturbance. It should remain a depression through much of today, but by tonight, going into very early tomorrow morning, it could become Tropical Storm Debbie. So Debbie is the next name on the list, and some strengthening is expected. Now, the longer this thing takes to move inland, the stronger it is going to get because it is those very warm waters that fuel tropical cyclones to intensify. So if this thing here should move a little bit slower or take a bit longer to make landfall, when it actually does, impacts are likely to be a little bit more intense. Now, along the Big Bend area where landfall is expected early next week, maybe on Monday, we can see that pink shade, and that's a hurricane watch in effect. So even though we're seeing S to represent tropical storm intensity, there is a chance that the depression could actually manage to make it to hurricane status before it makes landfall. And then for much of the west coast of Florida, there is that blue highlight, a tropical storm warning. So tropical storm conditions likely to unfold as we head into tomorrow. And then there is a tropical storm watch that's in yellow for the Florida Keys. So this is going to be impacting Florida, as I said. Now, the future of it is uncertain. We see this big circle right here. A lot can be happening with this, and models for the most part kind of show it loitering just offshore the southeast coast. Now, this is not exactly good news. Why? Because if it is going to loiter offshore and then move back inland, it is going to strengthen even more before it actually makes that second landfall. So that is going to be something very interesting to see as we head into next week to see how it'll play out. But models have been showing the system kind of loitering around, but we'll see what happens with it. As it relates to the models, though, models are kind of in agreement. We see that for the track forecast, they're kind of tight, especially for the short term. For the next 24 hours, they're really tight on where the system is going to be headed. They're not scattered all over the place, and that's good news. When we kind of have that consistency, we kind of know what the most likely outcome is going to be. So in terms of intensity, though, we can see that most agree on a tropical storm, which is in that green shaded area. When they go up to that yellow shading, that's Cat 1 hurricane right there. So most of the different models anticipate a tropical storm, and look how they all go down. That's because it is going to be moving inland, thus weakening. But then as it moves back over water, re-strengthening is going to be likely. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on this upcoming tropical storm. Again, the next name on the list is Debbie. Those very warm waters are ahead of it. Water's up to 32 degrees Celsius in a few spots in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. So if you're in Florida, if you're under that watch, if you're under a warning, please take it seriously. Please ensure that you have the preparations ongoing. There's likely to be a lot of heavy rain. Even the tornado threat as well is something else that's going to be in the picture. So a lot of heavy rain, the possibility of tornadoes, the storm surge, the winds of the system pushing the water onshore and flooding coastal areas, not to mention the winds. There could be those hurricane force wind gusts, especially in that area where this depression, upcoming tropical cyclone is going to be making landfall. So please, guys, take all the necessary precautions. Please listen to your local officials when they give the different orders or updates in regards to the system, because we want to protect life as best as we can. Now, going on to this next system out there, we can see it on the satellite imagery. Lots of showers, thunderstorms. It's moving to the west. Now, this is not marked for development, as I had mentioned, at least as of the latest update, 2 a.m. this morning. And it is going to be moving in. And while it does so, it's likely to increase the rain across the Lesser Antilles, especially the Windward Islands. But let's look at the ensembles for it. So this is the Euro ensemble. So you can see them. All these different lines are different members for the Euro. And we can see a lot of them for what will become DEBBY. We are expecting that. But take a look at this new set of members here. Not showing something very strong in the Caribbean. Nonetheless, we see a decent amount of members picking up on potential development, maybe as the system moves to the central or the western Caribbean. As we go on to the GFS members, we see a similar story here. And we can see these new clusters of members out there for that tropical wave that's going to be moving into the Caribbean. So that is going to be something very interesting to see play out, if we'll actually have some development, and that will all be dependent on how conducive the environmental conditions are. Now, in terms of the rainfall forecast for the short term, so heading through today, headed into tomorrow morning, we can see here that the Euro is expecting that it will be quite active in the Gulf of Mexico as expected, associated with the system. So the depression is likely to unleash a lot of heavy rain in parts of Cuba, especially for the southwestern part of the country, and then maybe for coastal Florida, there could be a lot of heavy rain. Those rainfall amounts probably exceeding 3 or 4 inches as we head throughout today. Elsewhere, could expect maybe up to an inch of rain at maximum. Cayman Islands, it's likely that you guys have been experiencing some downpours. Let me know what's been going on for you in the comments. It's going to remain active for a bit longer. A couple scattered showers and thunderstorms across Jamaica, the Turks and Caicos Islands, Bahamas, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, through the Lesser Antilles, ABC Islands as well. And then for a few spots in northern South America, there's likely to be some additional thunderstorms, and kind of the same story for Central America. And we see that trail of that higher rainfall amount. So the more color we see indicates higher rainfall amount. So we kind of see that trail associated with that next tropical wave that is going to be approaching as we head into early next week. So again, we'll want to keep our eyes on that tropical wave, not currently marked for some development, but it is looking quite interesting, and models such as GFS actually expect that we could see some development down the road, some additional development of it. So I'll be keeping you guys posted as I normally do, and that is basically what I wanted to share with you in this update video. And I do hope you found it to be informative. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you once I get the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.